Hello, everybody. Welcome to the full moon in Gemini, full cold moon in Gemini. It's going to hit on December 18th at 11:45 p.m., so this weekend. And that's Eastern time zone. Now, I'm not sure what you're going through for this full moon, but this one sure feels different than the last one, doesn't it? All just no good or bad, just a totally different set of things coming up for people. And because it's Gemini, sign of networking, communicating, multitasking, I am seeing a lot of people call me. And that's wonderful. Around the holidays, to have it extra social is fun, especially in a year like this, even though we have to be a little more cautious now with the new variant. But let's not get crazy paranoid about it either. Let's just be careful so we don't have to shut down everything like we did last year and lock it down. We'll just keep ourselves a little cool, but still see people over the holidays. That's my theory, but that's based on me and where I live and my own personal choices, right? Okay, so I'm just burning some lavender because it smells so nice and it's nice and calming. If anybody else, if you ever want to try, if you haven't already, you could literally just buy the dried lavender or pick some and dry it yourself if you have it. Otherwise, there's lots of places that sell bundles of dried lavender. And you really just need to burn a tiny little bud. And it's enough to just give you this lovely infusion of smell. It's so smooth. Beautiful. Here, see, it burns really nice. Really briefly, but it'll give you a nice lavender. And you might need some lavender to calm your nerves in a Gemini moon. Because as much as Gemini is, as I said, exciting and social and multitasking, it's also a sign, an air sign and a dual sign. And it can be, excitement or anxiety. It's both. So if you're feeling your anxiety is higher around now for whatever reason, with news around the world, with, the horrible tornadoes, the floods that people are still recovering from, there's enough to be anxious about in the world and people, communities around us. There's also probably stuff in your own life coming up that might make you more anxious. Lavender and burning lavender is just one little piece of it. It doesn't take your anxiety away, but it's the properties of that plant have been shown to calm our nerves. So you can find it in tea or in oils, and you might just want to add it to things. The other thing, before we get into the astrology about, managing anxiety, don't watch the news so much. And it's not to get political about whether the news is right or wrong, or it's just because the news thrives on fear. So try to limit your exposure to live news feeds if you have anxiety. It's going to help you quite a bit. You can read the headlines. You can read a story. It's very different to read what's going on than to be like, dun, 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 and the music is in your face and somebody starts broadcasting danger and terror and horror. And, that's step number one if you have anxiety. Remove yourself from that. The second is step back and really make a list, like Santa's list, but make a list of everything you've got to do. Put it on paper, put it in front of your face. If you keep it all in your head, that's a very Gemini trait. Usually they're very good at keeping many things in their head and still managing to remember them all and bounce between them. But if you start to add too many things to your plate, or if you're anxious, now you're going to step into overwhelm, or you might even freeze. You walk into a room, why did I come in here kind of moment. or I can't decide which thing I'm supposed to do first. I'm so overwhelmed, you know? So write it down. And then if you're still overwhelmed after writing things down, maybe you need to drop something or delegate it or put it off for a later time. Like, my point is not to overwhelm yourself during a full moon anyway, but let alone a full moon in Gemini before holidays. The fun side, obviously, we're going to take part in as social as we can be and feel safe, catching up with people, trying things out. Gemini's about variety as well. Maybe you want to try new places, try new do things you haven't done, gift things in a different way than you have before. You don't have to gift. It could be something else. But it can be highly creative too. Another thing that I would recommend for anxiety as well, in case it's hard for you to find someone to talk to, or, if you're alone or you find yourself in your car and you're having a panic moment, whatever happens and you happen to be alone with it. Most people will tell you to deep breathe. I'm like, yes, that's true. But sometimes before you can even get to the part where you think about breathing, you're too far gone. You cannot breathe and start calming yourself. So the first thing, and this I've learned from my acupuncturist, who has been a godsend to me during difficult times. So the first thing you want to do for anxiety is you press the third eye point with your thumb. It's acupressure. Then you want to press about here into the hairline. These 2 points, you just have to put a little bit of pressure and then start to breathe. And maybe start to feel your feet. And just stay there until you sort of come out of your ether, out of the fight or flight, out of the over planning, whatever it is. You'll start to feel yourself coming back down to earth, and you'll get more into your body, and it clears through the fog, and it helps you go forward and decide something. So these 2 points, third eye, crown of the head, right around here. It's the simplest little thing, and it's so potent. I also, on my Clairvoyant Medium Catherine Allen page on Facebook, if you want to follow me there, I post different kinds of things. But I recently put up an anxiety acupressure video, and the woman was just lovely. And it's a easy thing to do. It's not so precise as if you get the point wrong. It's adapted for anybody, whether somebody is in the hospital or not, whether somebody can has mobility or not. She guides you through how to do this for a deep calm. And it's the method that they showed the 9/11 responders before they went back into to rescue people. So it's pretty powerful. And I know I'm not saying astrology right off the bat, but this is part of the message of this full moon is keep the excitement alive. Try to keep the overwhelm at bay, and get some tools in your toolbox for anxiety, whether it's for yourself or for your friends or family. Just so those 2 little things I showed you can be quickly helpful. All right, so I'm going to take a look now at the chart. If I can find the page, I'll put it on. There we are. All right. So just like the cold moon, this is a cold read. Now, if you're if you're in the Eastern time zone, again, the houses are aligned for people in the Eastern time zone. And I bring this up because it's very interesting with the aspects this time for those born in the Eastern time zone. Gosh, I keep saying born. Living in the Eastern time zone. And why? Because this full moon is falling right on the median coli, or the MC, the midheaven. Why is that important? Well, because when you have the full moon and the sun hitting the MC and the IC, Whenever anything hits the angles, those major angles in the chart, it suggests big action. It suggests actual action, not just thinking about it, talking about it. So this could be a particularly decisive time, meaning we could see lots of people going forward with policies, announcements, projects, things where they say, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, this is what's happening. Decisiveness. Very interesting. And then the moon is also right at the very top of the chart then, because the MC is sort of like at 12 o'clock on the clock. So it's at the very top. So we're very aware. We're hyper aware of our emotions. We're very aware of our duality and our moodiness. Moon and Gemini people need mental stimulation, but they also usually equally need their cocoon or their man cave time, whether you're male or female. They usually need to talk quite a bit, and they need to have a variety of people in their lives, and they want to talk about multiple topics. They also need to constantly sort of be stimulated by something or someone. And then the other mood swing of that is when they do need a time alone or they need downtime, they crash out. So you might be very aware of that in yourself or other people close to you during this full moon. Like, are people, like the hyper friendly and then the I'm peopled out, I'm done moments. The I'm socializing at the dinner party, and where'd they go? Oh, they're down the hall having a nap now. I don't know where. Yes, kitty. Kitties are feeling the this high energy of the full moon already too. He's starting to do his crazy runs more often. And now he's meowing for our videos. So I hope you don't mind. That's Willow. So yeah, pay attention to your own mood swings and your own desire for solitude versus social, solitude versus social. So that could certainly come up as something we need to look at and balance during this full moon. You've probably been feeling it all week. And as usual, as I usually say, it's a few days before, a few days after. The mood of this might carry us all the way up to the holidays or Christmas Day. It's not falling far away from that. It's a few days. So you're going to see more everything, more shopping, more traffic, more phone calls, more texts, more gifts or cards coming in or to send, more stuff you're adding to decorate your place, maybe more baking, more just because Gemini is just like, Moon and Geminis can be like a kid in a candy store. Like, everything is cool and I got to try everything myself. And they just, they're so curious. And so, you take hyper curiosity into a shopping mall full of amazing stuff that you might want to be careful not to spend more than usual. The Moon and Gemini could also gamble a little bit, or and that can just mean, well, splurge, yeah, just charge it, I'll get it kind of moments too. So yes, very interesting start to this full moon energy. And oh my Lord, look at that. It is making a trine. Its best aspect of the whole chart here is Jupiter is making a trine to this moon. So look out, everybody. This just amplifies everything. Gosh, okay. Everything I've just been saying, Jupiter just takes that and goes and makes it this big. So even more caution about spending, even more caution about overdoing it with too many people, too many activities, too many messages, too much going on in my head, too many projects I've started but haven't finished or haven't decided. Or it amplifies the moodiness perhaps too. But it amplifies the fun. It sure amplifies the fun. So yeah, I would just say enjoy yourself, but take it easy. Pace yourself a bit with these planets. Now, the other interesting thing is it's obviously it's opposite the sun, which is all the time in a full moon. It's sun opposite moon. The sun in Sagittarius is usually like, this big wanderlust type of sign, right? But it's sitting in the IC in the fourth house, right at the beginning of the house of home and the hearth and the cocoon and the cave and the ancestors. So we've got a few things in that fourth house. It sort of suggests, the moon in Gemini at the top is like, I want to be out. I want to go see people. I want to be seen. I want to dress up. I want to do this. I want to say hello I want to walk by. I want to, there's this going on. I want to make sure I don't miss it. And then all these, Mercury, it's not too close to the sun this time, but they're both still close together enough. But the sun's in Sag, Mercury's in Capricorn, Pluto's in Capricorn, Venus is in Capricorn, in the house of home. This is very like, or I will just stay home. Thank you very much. I'll be private. We'll just have a few of us or just one at a time. We'll keep things sort of on the down low, maybe more discreet, more elegant, more serious. Because even Sag, that's normally like, party, let's go out, is in the house of like, let's stay home. So it's going to be interesting because, as we all know, they've announced the starting of the spread of these variants and the fear is ramping. And look at how different that is in the planets. This real pull and push and desire to go out and have some fun. And this really strong pull to like stay home, close the doors, only a couple of people, keep it private. So, maybe you're thinking about those themes in general as well, not the going out, staying home, but, public life versus private. That might be on your mind. Because the moon in Gemini at that midheaven would normally be sort of a celebrity aspect. The moon is like, it can be somebody who shines there in public. Now, if something is conflicting the moon, we might expect with this chart a public kind of scandal, gossip, stuff that comes out. Oops. So we have Neptune squaring off with the moon. Neptune's in Pisces, squaring off with the moon. Other than that, nothing's really touching that moon besides what I've mentioned. But the moon square Neptune is a classic sign of deceit and self-deception, or ultimately like illusion. And illusion can be amazing and beautiful and fun too, right? Think of a magic show. Think of, any beautiful environment that people create, atmosphere. Think of, so you could find a little bit of a magic-y feeling going on. Maybe you're trying to create that magic. Maybe you feel that way with people that you meet because it's relating to that moon wanting to get out there. But it also could be like, be careful of gossip of, well, I thought he was a nice guy, but it's day 2 and oh my gosh, what have I gotten myself into? Or I thought this woman was who I thought she was. And then, yikes, stuff started coming out of that closet. So just because the moon in Gemini can so easily connect to people quickly on a certain level, like it's not super deep, but it is a connection. And they can connect almost with anybody if they're in the right mood at the right time. Very good at adapting like a chameleon to what people want and need. And so with Neptune there, you could get this ultimate flirtation, this ultimate romantic or, hot kind of time, or rapport, or flirting, like, wow. And the moon in Gemini is like, really wants to be seen and be out there and meet people and have some fun. But you've got to be careful a little bit of those things that seem too good to be true or a little too shiny. So just, some of you might live the wonderful side of it, and you do have something, you do have like a wonderful magical evening. I'm not ruling that out. But some of you will have to be careful that you're not just, wearing the rose-colored glasses. Yeah. So what else do we have going on? The other good aspect is sort of a funny one to say, but the other good aspect here is Chiron making a trine or good aspect to the South Node in Mars. Not easy energy, even though it's flowing. So Mars has gone finally into Sagittarius. Yes, thank goodness. Mars in Scorpio, especially during like a dark fall, is like being in an extra dark and stormy night. And now it's lifting us up in Sagittarius. Now we're ready again to be lighter-hearted, come out and say what we have been brooding about for so long. It's ready to be active, like physically active as well. So it's crazy that we're going into this, this fear again around the variant, right as the planets are like, if we didn't have the virus, this would be sort of like a liftoff kind of moment with these planets. It would be so hypersocial and busy this year. And yet there's things kind of clamping that down a little bit, but also, the virus and being careful are going to clamp it. What's that mean? I mean, you're going to need to let off steam physically. If you don't feel comfortable or safe in a gym, get outside, do it in your living room, but you're going to need to let off steam. Mars in Sag is like an athlete, wants to run, wants to walk fast, out of my way, please, and conjunct the South Node. Well, there could be old crap coming up for all of you, for all of us. I know in my life there is. Life has been forcing me. It's presenting me like a lot of flashback of things from the past, not necessarily bad or good, just I forgot that, and then suddenly a storyline comes back to me, and maybe I have to sit with it and say, does that story still bring up anything for me? Is there any amends to make? Are there energies to clear, or am I good with that? And I can say, okay, that this is over. This doesn't bother me. This is done. And it can be silly little memories, but that's the way memory works. It's so mysterious, but you might suddenly remember what your grandma's perfume smelled like out of nowhere. Well, maybe grandma's around you. Maybe you're dreaming of her. Maybe she's nudging you to do something. Or maybe it reminds you of something in your earlier years, and it would be interesting for you to explore it, because maybe there's some wisdom in it, in remembering, that helps you in the now. So Mars and the South Node, I think, could really bring up, it could bring up something painful, but it could also bring up just stuff that helps you be ready to take action and move forward with your life. And I'm saying that also because it's making this really nice aspect to Chiron in Aries, which is, the wounding of yourself. Like, so it's sort of feeling to me like a time when you're reclaiming yourself, you're reclaiming your independence, you're taking back your power, you're taking action on your own behalf, like taking care of yourself independently. doing what you need to do to respect yourself. And Mars in Sag is going to call it like it is if you're not being treated that way. So yeah, it's quite the weird energy, this moon. Like, not weird, crazy, creepy, nothing weird in the sense of, it's like, well, it's very Gemini. It's like you're being presented with, 5 different doors. Okay, do I want to explore the past and my past life memories and work on my healing? Oh, should I get stuff done and get out and go for a walk, or like do extra cooking or clean the house? Should I be like getting all social? Should I be locking down and getting scared again? Preparing for the worst? Should I, and there's multiple mindsets, and the chart sort of shows that. Because any of you, if you follow me long enough, you'll know, like, sometimes the charts feel very either or, right? There's a really strong overarching theme, and then there's ways that I suggest you tap into the flow that helps get you around it. And this one, there's no either or. There's no overarching theme. There's like dispersion. And so that can cause some people anxiety or overwhelm too, not knowing which thing to focus on. And the moon in Gemini can often be like that. We don't know what to focus on. We're inspired by everything. So what else can we offer as help in this? Another positive aspect that we've got is Mercury in Capricorn is making a good aspect to Uranus. Again, that's not a calming, it's not calm. Gosh. Mercury is in Capricorn, so very orderly, very structured, to-do list, ambitious, thinking of like 5 years from now kind of planner. But it's trine Uranus and Taurus. Taurus is still worried about, all of this instability, like what the heck's going on? The world is rocking and changing, and I don't know where I'm going to stand in it. So I don't know what to do to be comfortable or secure. The whole world's doing that with Uranus and Taurus. So this Mercury in Capricorn, that would be like super focused and serious, and how do we strategize around all of this insecurity and instability, could be again on hyper alert. Your mind could be on hyper vigilance, like with planning, and that can make you also anxious or overwhelmed as well. It's really hard to admit this and say it to people, but with Uranus touching our lives like this, it's almost impossible for anybody to know or to make plans with where things are headed. You can plan and you can decide what you are feeling for yourself for the next few months, maybe the next year, but you have to keep in mind that so much is changing so quickly that it could all change again. So Mercury in Capricorn, let alone Pluto and Venus in Capricorn, all 3 of them want to like lock things in and, have a fortress built around it and secure the battlefield here. And it's just not the reality right now. Uranus is too destabilizing. And Moon in Gemini sort of lightens that up in a nice way, actually, because if you're too worried about what's going to happen in the future and trying to get ahead of it and trying to find a way to like almost outsmart the world or outrun something that's chasing you, if those Capricorn planets might sort of think, oh no, I'm smart enough. If I just apply myself, if I work hard enough, I'll find a way around everything. And then I'll be fine. I'll be safe. But there's too much changing. And the moon in Gemini could sort of lighten that up, even though it can be still overwhelming, but it's in a different way. because, well, now you're focused on being light and being curious. And like, okay, adapt. Oh, these people came to all right. So I guess there's 6 of us now instead of 8. All right, we'll adapt, you know. Whereas Mercury in Capricorn is sort of like, think about Martha Stewart. It's all been planned. You're sitting there. No, he's having the squash, not her, you know. This is like Mercury in Capricorn. Moon in Gemini is like, oh, does it matter if I'm sitting here? You know, and then just starts to eat the squash. Doesn't ask, because so what? We all have to adapt. So the moon in Gemini with adaptation could be a good way to counteract some of the heaviness of the Capricorn planets. And we must talk about the Venus-Pluto in Capricorn because it's there all month. What does that mean? It means power dynamics, power plays, dramas, control issues. Oh my God, control issues. So just keep an eye out for your own, for other people's. You know, the moon in Gemini can help you sort of charm and use wit and joke your way out of that kind of scenario. To let it just roll off your back if somebody's being this way. Venus, Pluto, very possessive, jealous, and controlling. Also very sexy and ambitious too. Again, moon is square Neptune. Be careful of not falling. You don't want to fall for that too good to be true, charming person, whether that's in your work, whether that's dangled before you as a business deal, whether it's an actual person you meet. Venus and Pluto desperately wants to get ahead. And they think they can, and that it's owed to them almost, even though they'll work for it. So what's that lead to? Well, that can lead to, again, gambling or bypassing the rules or steamrolling right over others to get it. So we want to be careful of any like overwhelm that comes from our overweening ambition, or you want to definitely be aware of others around you who are like this right now. Anybody that seems too charming or too good to be true, be careful right now. Make them wait. Whoever it is, if it's real, if it's a real business offer, if it's a real contender romantically, they'll wait. Just wait a little, week or two. Then you'll protect yourself from that sort of instant hookup energy that's in the air. All right. And Venus and Pluto is aspecting, pretty much that Neptune, but in a good way. So, could be, well, I hate saying this, but it could be easy for people who are scamming us right now to get there, to do it. So be careful of that too. Be careful of holiday scams. Maybe not identity theft with that. This is more feels like about money. Don't click on anything in your inbox that says your credit card company has changed your number, like any of that stuff. Maybe people watching this don't need that message, but like try to protect your loved ones or especially your elderly loved ones from answering the wrong things online, or donating to things that you think are charity, but they're not, or buying into crypto because they're telling you, oh no, we've got to sell quickly. And then it turns out to be a scam. Or like really do your research with anything, because that gambler mind is in the air, and this, want to have fun is in the air. What else have we got? That's pretty much it in a nutshell. So let's take a look at the cards now, and see if it can offer any extra insight. Gosh, I'm just amazed how different the energies are of each moon. Alrighty, here we go. just always forget to bring my little papers once I get to the personal readings to write down your times. All right. But first, this is just a general reading. I feel like we need to burn a little bit more. Clear that before I start channeling the cards. I'm cleaning the cards out too. All right. That was loud. Sometimes the cats jump when you do that, as they should. The energy is being lifted out of the cards. All right, this feels better now. It feels cleaner. Okay, here we go. So what can we expect this full moon with the tarot? Let's just say this is a few days before and up till Christmas. So we've got our King of Swords. This is a very intelligent man, usually professional. And if he doesn't have a profession or schooling, well, he's smart enough to. It doesn't matter. Very clever, you know. Usually the swords represent more of an air sign, but it doesn't have to. It just means somebody who's very intellectual, not very emotional, not thinking so much in the practical. It's all, this guy is like pure strategy, purely witty, funny, full of facts, and also a very good manipulator if he wants to be. He can get his way. And he tends to move quickly and be quite dominant. Well, this is the Justice card, the legal card. Usually the Justice is a time when we have to sign documents, put things in writing. Sometimes it is legal matters. Sometimes it's not legal, but you're weighing a very big decision. The Justice, you're weighing what is fair. What is fair? What is the right thing to do? And I'm guessing it's related to this person. That person could be on the opposite side who you're weighing things. Could be on the other side of the document in a good way or a bad way. Could be well, sometimes this card can be karmic justice too. Rebalancing things on a karmic level that's not to do with human courts. But you're weighing how to balance something out and wondering what action needs to be taken. And we've got the Queen of Cups. So she's very different. Like if she's with him, nope. Nope. Why? Because she's the feeler. She's the empath. And she's the nurturer, the mother. She will put her own needs on the back burner. Look, we can't even see her face. You know, she's got the stork here. She's got cradling another, what is that in her arms? I almost forget. Looks like a shell and a scorpion, but she's cradling them. And there's, I think there's other little babies in here too. And she's got the lotus flower, and we can't really see her face because she's a giver. So is this you? Is this somebody you know? How do you think these two would match based on what I described? Well, in the best case scenario, if he supports her, he goes out in the quote unquote real world. He makes the money. He does the tough stuff. She stays home. She supports him and he feels completely taken care of. So he goes out there in the world and he provides. That could be the one way that this works. Otherwise, most of the time, I would say this is your like narcissist and empath kind of dynamic, where she does all the feeling, he doesn't want to. She gets more depleted. He says, what? There's nothing wrong. And so they don't work as a couple. And you've got this legal card in the middle, or this justice card in the middle. So are you reconciling or rebalancing any relationship that fits that dynamic? That could be one thing going on. Now, that's nice. Card of Virtue, Sun and Aries. Virtue is, taking the high road, doing the right thing, doing the noble thing, doing the thing that is in your integrity. So if anybody is weighing and balancing somebody like this on either end, this card would sort of say, in your heart of hearts, you know what the right thing to do is. Maybe you feel angry to do it, but you should do it. Very nice. Very interesting. 7 of Swords. After that, you move on. You're moving on. Wow. So this feels quite good in the end. If you are ready to really make a decision and put closure or a final decision on something or something that you've been, if you step up into your stronger side, your integrity, the moral high ground, if you will, and you do the right thing, you're going to feel free. This card is walking away. This card is detaching, free, moving on, moving forward. It's over. It doesn't stick. So this is very interesting. So maybe some of you are in a position where you're separating in a couple. Huge decision, Justice card. If you do it in a way that you're kind to your partner, but you also are kind to yourself. You're not in anger. It's a difficult mindset to describe, the Virtue card. It's pretty high level, to be honest, like for a lot of people. If you're in anger or backlash or you feel victimized, you're not in the Virtue card. If you're sort of in a meditative mindset and you've been really inward lately, and you're clear on what you deserve and how you should be treated, and you're choosing to end or walk away without anger, like you're doing it out of your own self-worth, which is an Aries, then you're more in the Virtue side. You won't be pushed around and you won't retaliate and you're not making things worse. And then it is clean. It's cleanly done, over. So I wish that for all of you if you're going through any upheavals with people. And look at this. Then we get the King of Discs coming in, who is solid and reliable, who is very grounded. Look at him. He's got his horse. He's got all this wheat around him, showing fertility. He's got his helmet, which has a stag. He's got a shield and armor, but he's taking it down and he's just looking at the sun. He's letting the sun warm his face out on his land. So this is an honest person. This is a good businessy person too. He's very practical, probably good with his hands, good with money. And this is a much better partner for the Queen of Cups, if you are her, because they're both calm and supportive of each other emotionally. This guy could also be private, or you could take a while to open up. He moves slowly, but he's much healthier than the other one. And then we've got the 7 of Wands, which suggests taking a stand or standing up for yourself. Usually you feel like you've got to set a boundary or say something that, maybe you would normally not enjoy doing if you don't like conflict, but it's necessary. Maybe you need to say no, not let certain people take advantage. Maybe you need to say no just because you're tired of always saying yes, and you're tired of always being the one doing something, even if people are not intentionally taking advantage of you or taking you for granted. But maybe you're just like, I'm tapped out. I can't. I'm sorry. No. So this is definitely my card of it's time to say no to somebody or something. 2 sevens in here is interesting. Yeah, and look at that. That's so nice. We get the 6 of Wands after that, which says victory. So again, it's really encouraging, because if you're strong enough to be in your integrity and say that no, the victory card is coming. Rebalancing everything. Very, very nice. People look sort of more festive and joyful, and there's space in between the wands, and there's space for everybody's flame, and there's colors at the top. So this is a good group dynamic. This is, everybody feels free to be themselves and express themselves. So this is an interesting set of cards today. And our last one, we have the 4 of Cups, Moon in Cancer, the luxury card. This is the ultimate, I'm cozy in my blanket at home kind of card. And I have all my needs met. The fridge is full. My Netflix is on. My pets are happy. My kids are there. Whoever is important to you is there. This is a cozy in with a movie. All your needs are met kind of card. So very interesting reading. So what it says to me is, we can't force closure or endings or forgiveness if we're not there yet. But there's something in the air that seems to me some of you are ready to forgive or close a door or say no or take a decision from a really good centered place. And if you are, then things are looking very good for you to be more like happier and to really feel like emotionally more fulfilled, like you're getting your needs met and feeling close to people. That's a lovely, lovely reading. Wow. All right, so I'm just going to make the readings about the holidays. So just very basic. What can you expect over the holidays? Since our next moon cycle takes us all the way to beginning of January. So we'll just pull a card for each sign I'm just writing down my signs here, with how your holidays are going to go. There we go, and Pisces. All right. So Aries. Your holidays. All right. You've got a Prince of Swords at your holidays. Well, you've got somebody who's struggling around you, or this could be you. Struggling in the sense of like mentally struggling. That can be anything. Like I mentioned, this card would fit very well as like a Moon and Gemini card because he's an air sign. Is anyone or are you overwhelmed, trying to do too much? Are anyone just sort of spinning, their mind is spinning on the hamster wheel too much about things? They can't take action, or they can't decide, or they can't settle themselves down, they can't stop rehashing. That's one way that it could show up. Obviously, this card sometimes can mean mental health on other levels, like depression, or stronger things like bipolar disorder, or other things people are suffering with, because it talks about mental struggles and anxiety and anguish and mood swings and all the rest. If it's not in that extreme, and hopefully it isn't, then it's somebody who's sort of generally scattered and has a hard time committing to things. So it's the kind of guy where you invite him, but it's like, is he coming? Yeah. Who knows? He might be there, he might not. Now you see him, now you don't. He's not reliable. Kind of person that comes up with like a get rich quick scheme, and everyone's like, At first they're like, oh, great idea, encourage him, and then he doesn't follow through, and then he comes back with another one a few months later. Then he changes his mind again about his course, what he's going to do with his life, and so most of the time people end up going, oh, okay, well, let's see if he does it. Because he's not mentally stable in his goals, in his words. Sometimes he says things too soon before he's thought it through. And then that's a self-fulfilling prophecy too, because if you're constantly shifting your plans and announcing things to people, and it's always changing, they learn to just sort of not take you too seriously. And then if you're sensitive to it, then you feel like, oh, nobody believes me. This time I do mean it. And so if this is you or someone close to you, you just want to help. Maybe if you're good at that, just maybe help them put some things in order. Help them with this tendency, help them with maybe some decision making, or to just like, write things down or keep things to yourself until you're clear, because help them to be taken more seriously will help them. Wow, that was a mouthful. Okay. Oh. All right, Taurus. Ah. So your holidays, this is nice. I like that. It's the High Priestess. You're just tuning in to how you're going with that flow day to day. You're trusting your gut completely. Maybe you're resting more. You could be meditating more. You could be listening to music more, doing things that uplift or inspire you. You might be having more sleep, more dreams, because this is the card of the divine feminine and the intuition. And so this is a card of getting in touch with that deeper side of you that already sort of knows what's going on, and honoring that. So I think holidays will be very nice for you. A nice little cocoon time to go within and do the things you enjoy and connect very deeply to yourself. And if you get a gut feeling about going out or not going out or whatever it is, that you're invited to or want to, I think you're right on target with your trusting your instincts right now. That's a nice message, isn't it? All right, Geminis, since it is your full moon, you probably are feeling a lot. So here we go for you. Well, that's nice. So your holidays, you've got the Empress, which is like the nurturer, like a divine mother. So if some of you have, little kids around or grandkids, nieces and nephews around, I'd highly recommend you spend time with them, because this is a really great card for connecting with the kids and with the youth, with the babies. If it's not kids and it's fur babies, connect with your pets, your animals, say hi to other people. Maybe you're going to babysit or cat sit. And if you're not doing that, then it's a very fertile time in other ways, which means your creative life. So could be a great time to step back and do some of the writing you've been wanting to do, or if you like to draw, or if you haven't picked up your guitar in a long time, or anything that inspires that creative side of you. It's a great time for that. And I just think your holidays are actually going to be really lovely, and like you're going to feel somehow cared about, and you might be the caretaker, but it feels like a very nice, rewarding, bonding caregiving, not like a running around slaving for things kind of caregiving. And if not, then, you're the one who's being nurtured as well. And, take time for that, to spoil yourself and nurture yourself with something nice. Oh, that's a very nice message. All right, let's see for Cancers. Now, this time of year is actually one of the lowest times of year for Cancers, because we're heading into Capricorn on the solstice. So when it's your opposite sign, it's a low energy time of year around the holidays, just to say. Oh, look at this. Lots of swords cards. Okay, all this Gemini energy's in the air. Princess of Swords. Well, usually this wouldn't be a Cancer card, but it might be you. You have to be honest. Now this Princess of Swords is very rebellious. She can be mouthy. She can be sort of like, well, dare me, just stop me. I'm going to do it anyway. Usually she cannot stop talking. She will constantly try to state her case, over-explain, convince you, lobby you for things. She's usually trying to convince you of her position on something or justify her actions. And she will justify her actions, whether even if she knows deep down that it's wrong, she will keep justifying her actions till the cows come home. And she'll do it in an intellectual way that she thinks is clever, even though most people eventually see through her. And they will usually consider her somebody sort of troubled or tortured. And they also won't really take her too seriously. So it's sort of a tough message. If you have someone like this in your life, usually Cancers feel completely drained by a person like this. If this is somebody that you're related to, if this is a close friend, if this is your child, then you've got sort of a tortured soul around you who needs some help, but who is too rebellious to accept help. And so it puts you in that horrible position of just watching the train wreck or watching the inevitable time bomb that she's setting off in her life. Because this girl has a lot of life lessons through losses, endings, ruptures, stubbornness. If this is perchance a side of you, although I really doubt it with Cancers, but just ask yourself if you do have any of those traits or if you've been in a phase like this yourself in any way. And if you are the one who feels sort of scattered or defensive or a bit of a tortured soul right now, think about, well, what advice would you give this person if it were not you? If you saw like a rebellious teenager who keeps picking the wrong guys or the wrong jobs, what would you tell them to do? Or somebody that can't stop talking and shares opinions that are inappropriate or stuff like that, what would you tell them to do? So I really doubt it's you, Cancer, but just in case, think about what kind of limits you have, how much you can help somebody and how much you really can't, because this one can just totally take you down the well. And if there's no one around and this doesn't seem to fit you, well, be careful, you could chance meet this one if you're going out. This could be the friend of a friend at a gathering. This could be somebody you've got to deal with in customer service. I don't know. This could be a customer that comes to you. And the main message is just, if you recognize that this is a struggling, righteous person who doesn't want to be helped, you just keep things very calm and flat and try to move, solve it and move away from it as quickly as you can. Eek! All right. Leos. Ta-da! Leo, your holidays should be quite nice. 10 of Cups is, it's like a happy family get-together, everyone's around kind of card. However, the 10 of Cups is usually like, it says satiety. And it's usually the card where your cups are just full to the max and they're spilling over, and you're starting to feel a bit overwhelmed or burnt out by it all, but you can still handle it. So, and it's sort of emotionally tired. It's not like physically tired with like a million tasks. It's emotionally tired of like, maybe you're the one that many people come to when they need someone. you've been strong for many for a long time. And so maybe you're emotionally sort of taxed out. So I would suggest your holidays are still good because whatever gatherings you've got, I feel you're going to still have the energy to bring your normal, jovial self to the table. But you will feel more tired. And I would say you need some activities that you do on your own to regenerate yourself. Walks alone, if you can go for a massage, something like that. This feels to me like you need a bit of pampering over the holidays. So I hope that if you're getting gifts for Leo, maybe that's a gift you want to get them, is pampering. And yeah. And if you're, how do I say that? Like, I don't get a feeling you're going to be telling anybody, I'm sorry, so-and-so, like, I can't really help you or listen to you anymore. But I do get a feeling like you're sort of disentangling yourself from some of the threads of people that you support because you're tired. All right, so let's go to Virgo now. Nice. Wow, Virgo, look at that. The love card. Love card. Well, Virgo, you might have a lucky time with your love life. This could be a crush. This could be a, good for the holidays kind of connection, or this could be the birth of something new that lasts. We don't know. It's just the birth of something new. It's exciting. It feels to me like you're feeling better about yourself than you have in a while, and you're ready to shine. And maybe you're taking more your place, whether that's standing out, speaking out, showing what you're capable of. But it's in a confident way. It's not I'm going to show them, It's not that at all. It's like, I feel good. I'm going to dress my best here. I'm going to say what I think, and I'm not going to be shy because I'm confident what I think. As you shine your real self outwards, like this big burst here, this card, you're going to attract lots of people. There's potential in the air for dating, for new love, for reviving or rekindling the love you have, deepening it, but there's like bringing a bit of that, the most confident version of yourself that you've ever been. I want you to try to think back. When was that? What does that look like? And how do I do that again? When were you your happiest, most confident self? What scenario? What were you doing? Who were you around? How did you present yourself? Try to go back to that moment and recreate it, because there's enormous attraction potential for you right now. And that could be on any level, whether it's your career or love, which is very exciting for holidays. So definitely that moon in Gemini, Jupiter thing, like getting out to be seen, is definitely you, Virgo. All right. Libras. Six of Cups. Well, it's the pleasure card. Maybe some of you are going on a little bit of a trip. Some of you might be daydreaming of going on a trip, but not going on one. This card has like a seaside, beachy kind of feel to it, because it's a water card. There's an ocean. There's wonderful sunny flowers in the cups. It's a card of pleasures. So Libra loves that, right? Sometimes when we head into Capricorn, it's not the best time of year for Libras, because Capricorn squares you. Christmas Day and those first few days up to Christmas that we're talking about is going to be Virgos who were born in late September. If you're an October Libra, it's not hitting you the same way. Christmas is probably fine. But this just basically says to focus on the small pleasures of life. Savor the good conversation. Stop and turn on some of your favorite music. stop and enjoy the smell of what you're cooking. You know, it doesn't mean necessarily overindulgence, although it can for sure with Libras and food or anything. But I would say like the best way to use this is like, you know, if you pet your cat, just like take that extra few minutes and just really connect and bond and feel how lovely and soft your kitty is. You know, if this is a hobby that you're doing, if it's the guys and you're out, you know, you're building or you're tinkering with something in your garage, you're fixing something, you're building, just enjoy like, you know, the sound of like the wood that you're chopping or the saw. I don't care. Like if you're painting, you know, just really, I love the way my hand feels when I'm moving the paint, you know, it's about sensuality. And that doesn't have to mean sex. Like everything's like so sexualized all the time. It's like, no, sensual can be like, you know, I love playing with my locket. I love the feel of the silver and feeling the carving of the tree on my locket, you know, and I'll just do that because it's a nice sensory pleasure. So this is the way, whatever's going on in your life, this is the thing to do for holidays, is really enjoy all of that while it's abundant. Scorpios. All right, you've got a Queen of Swords around you. Yeesh. So there's, again, Gemini energy again. Although she could be Aquarius, she could be Libra as well, but Libras are usually not like that. Look how she's chopping off someone's head here. Off with their heads is not really a Libra thing. You know, it's probably a little more of an Aquarius thing. But some Geminis could do it too. So it's an air sign. It's a cold, clear, smart as hell lady. But she's like a blunt. She's like a precise surgical instrument with her tongue. Now, who's around you like this? Now, Scorpios can be like that too, at times. You have it in you. You're overall extremely sensitive, extremely sensitive. So Scorpio would only get that sort of cold, steely-eyed, cut you to the quick, only if they feel like they've been over. Then you'll get the Queen of Swords energy out of a Scorpio. You know, like the scorpion and the frog, right? The frog is riding on the scorpion. It says, well, how do I know you won't sting me before and kill me before we get across the water? He says, no, it's fine. And then they're about to reach the shore and he stings the frog. He's like, what are you doing? You're going to kill us both. He says, it's just my nature. So the scorpion does still have the stinger to use in extreme cases. But I'm guessing that this is probably somebody that you have to deal with instead. So how do you deal with her? Because she's very bossy usually. She's very demanding. She talks, like I said, talks and talks and talks. She doesn't say things in a very nice way. If she's super academic and social, then she'd be high level, charming, and social. So if you have to deal with her and there's no emotional friction and she's someone you got to work with, she might be a super efficient person to work with. She might be just brilliant to work with. You just will not get close to her, and you should not get close to her because she can't get close to you emotionally. She'll get angry. So if you're in a position where you can keep that emotional distance, perfect. If this is family and there's an expectation that you're supposed to be opening up your life or close to this woman, don't do it. You're a Scorpio, you're emotional, you need to keep your life private. If she starts to pry or asks the right questions or starts to even channel you or whatever, don't bite, don't go for it. keep your emotional space from her. Like I said, she's every sign, every card has their good and bad strengths, and she's amazingly strong in a professional arena or in a academic arena. She's not the one you want to get close to or open up your life or cry to. So just really thinking about, maybe you're taking a decision about those boundaries with somebody like this, or you have to cope with somebody like this over the holidays. But it would definitely be to like keep that cool boundary with her. All right, Sagittarius. You have earthy woman here. So you've got the Queen of Discs. This is a very Venus in Capricorn. Like I said, Venus, Pluto in Capricorn is conjunct. So, she's got these enormous horns that just show her status. Right? She's protected by her little plants, making a little canopy over her. She's sitting well dressed with, again, this giant sphere, which probably represents her knowledge or her wealth. And she's got her goat out front, who is like, who are you, please? Do you have an appointment? Protecting her, So, Sag, usually you're just going to walk right up to the goat and say, hey, buddy, and pat it on the head and say, excuse me, ma'am, I want to talk to you. Because you're not going to care about all the protocol and the pomp and ceremony and the bureaucracy and the rules and this is the way we've done it forever. You don't care. She does. So are you up against someone like this? Do you have to work with her, or is this family? Now, if it's someone you care about, you will need to pull back and respect some of that about her nature, because she will get very offended if you're too brassy, too open, too blunt. She'll get very offended. And she's usually powerful enough to do something about it. So if this were a work scenario and you've approached her in the wrong way and she considers it unprofessional, if this is a family member, though, who's like stuck in their ways and very traditional about Christmas dinners or holiday plans, and you want to break the mold, she's going to get really upset. Doesn't mean she's right, but you have to deal with that. Or you can decide how you're going to go around it. The way to charm her is not the way that you're used to being. The way to charm her is like, go watch Downton Abbey. She wants to be charmed like that. Like a period movie with decorum, with thoughtful gestures, with things that show class, in her opinion. And Sag, you're just too much like, just drop the pretense and talk to me. And it's sort of a tough thing ethically, right? Because why is it that the person who is more scared or more private or more conservative gets to win out all the time, and the people that are more open or flexible have to always adapt to them? Or do you? So you might be just sort of on the fence this holiday season, like how much are you gonna accommodate that energy versus not? But I get a feeling that you can easily deal with this person. It's just making the choice ahead of time and be realistic about what you're walking into, whether it's a group at work or a family member. Just step back and just see, like, just be honest about what is this person's nature? What am I expecting really here? And just, if you do need to work with this person, or you care and you don't want to offend them, well, just go a little slow and be a little more, ask permission, bring some little gift, like do something to warm them up in a gentle way, and it's going to go a long way for you with her. All right, Capricorns. All right. Wow. That's a nice message here. So you're feeling the Venus-Pluto in a totally different way. Of course, because all of that desire or this lust card embodies Venus and Pluto perfectly in your sign. You might be going just above and beyond with your ambitious side right now, let's just say. So you're ready to move mountains or build worlds, or you're feeling enough passion to really motivate the troops. You might be feeling it first as some frustration. You might be feeling like you're about to burst a gasket if things don't move in a different way and in a visible way, not just like slow, well, we changed one thing. No, you want this is you want the wrecking ball. You want the renovation, the wall is knocked out. You want to see change. You want to see progress, and you want to see it faster. And so all I can say is if you're willing to take that on and do it alone or find people who will, then go ahead. But it's not worth trying to make anyone else join you or drag them along if they're not in that headspace. It's just going to be like torture for you and for them. So my advice here would be if you are just bursting to do something big, I would just quickly check in with who's on the same page as you and do it together with people that are already feeling like you. No lobbying anybody for against their will. Because then you get into the negative side of Venus-Pluto, which, like I said, could be very possessive and controlling. You want to stay in the expansive, warrior side, like building side of things. But definitely tap into your passion and ask yourself, what do I want really badly that I'm willing to do it regardless of who's with me or not? So your holidays, and your birthdays are coming up. Usually it's a good time of year for you because the sun is in your sign. It's validating and energizing you. So I would say your holidays would be good spent thinking about what do you really need to see as a tangible change? Not just ideas and talk, but tangible change. What do you really need to see? And start thinking what you're going to do about it in the new year. But I would suggest you rest over the holidays. Rest and keep things calm and a bit status quo around the house before you say, by the way, sweetheart, I want to knock a wall out or something like that, of that nature. Or saying it to your boss, by the way, I'm restructuring something what? But I think that's what you're going to do in the new year, is something a bit earth-shattering. So enjoy the rest and the food and the people around you for now. All right, let's take a look for Aquarius now. Ah, this is nice. You've got the Lovers. So this is very good for that Moon and Gemini, Jupiter energy. You're probably falling in the camp of wanting to get out the door, wanting to see people, wanting to do things. And who can blame you? So it's just about figuring out how to do it in a safe way for you and for others, whatever that means to you. But the Lovers card is really great. Like, it doesn't always mean love, but it definitely means meeting great connections, meeting new people. It is a Gemini card. It can be, partnerships with others, whether it's, work or play. And it can be a great time to solidify couples that are already there. And it's got like a romantic, but it's got like a playful side. And, there's if you can see, there is it's actually the Hierophant or the priest who is got his hands out before them. And there's this pink swirl that he's got over the two of them. So it's like he's casting a love spell, or bringing them together, or consecrating their bond. So you might have that feeling, that Moon Neptune thing I mentioned, where there's a bit of a magic-y feeling in the air to somebody new that you click with, or romantic gestures, or even if it's not romance, it could be just really thoughtful bonding gestures that are helping you feel very uplifted this holiday season. I see a nice, more sort of lighthearted, social, sparkly kind of holiday season for you. Very nice. Well, that's, the air sign energy is working well for you. And finally, Pisces. Pisces, all right, you've got slow and steady growth card. Okay. 8 of discs. So your holidays look like they're going to be pretty, I would say productive, and I would say sort of low-key. Not tons of people around, but a few visitors. Doing things around the house, lots of reorganizing or prepping or cleaning or painting or refreshing things in your home. And it's a card also of like health with this one. So you might find that you're inclined more to eat well over the holidays instead of all these, chocolate and cakes and everything we're seeing in indulgences. You might actually be pretty sane. You might be eating well. Lots of leafy greens in this card feeling. And you're also more thinking about the new year. I feel like you're more focused on what the new year is going to bring than worrying about this particular holiday season. And if some of you are also struggling with worrying or anxiety, then I would go back to the beginning of this video where I talk about some tips, and maybe I can link that other video in the bottom here of the acupressure for helping calm your nerves dramatically. I'll link it for everybody here. Yeah, I would say pretty chill your holidays there, Pisces. You're keeping to your own self, your own bubble, and you're getting a lot of stuff done. So very nice. The other video that I will link in the end and for everybody is my holiday offerings, which will continue into the new year. I call them River Rain Experiences, and they're packages of services that I've put together around different goals. And I have a very short video, like about a minute long, that sort of tells you what those are about. So I'll link that in the bio as well. And if you enjoy my videos, please subscribe and like and share and all the rest. And I'll see you back again for the solstice. I'm going to prepare something nice for everybody for the winter solstice. All right. Take care until then.